Hey guys, welcome to the Restless Podcast. I'm your host, Elia Esparza. I'm a recording artist, songwriter, content creator, and just another 20-something trying to figure it all out. We'll be sharing the stories of creatives, entrepreneurs, and young successful people on how they got to where they are and the risks they took to get there. I'm recording this at the wonderful Beacon Hill Recording Studios. And if you're interested in keeping up with us day to day, you can follow us on our social media at Restless Podcast. Please don't forget to subscribe, tell your friends about us, and rate us. Let's get on with the show. Our next guest is truly a vision. She's a self-starter, creative, and owner of the stylish boutique On Next Sunday. Her Instagram is your source for the perfect everyday outfit and where to get the best cup of coffee in town. A pizza and wine connoisseur, a travel adventurist, and an all-over hardworking 20-something, I present to you the beautiful Erika Williams. Welcome to the show.
Hey, that was such a great intro.
Thank you.
That's funny.
So I'm super excited to have you on the show because, maybe people here locally know you, but if we have any listeners outside of El Paso, you have an online boutique, you have your own stores, 2 locations here in El Paso, and you're pretty much like a thing here. I feel like a lot of girls go to your shop because they can't find anything like that in other stores, at the mall. And so you really, I think you really brought a wave of inspiration to El Paso and everywhere. Yeah.
Thanks.
So let's start from the beginning. Tell me a little bit about how you grew up and then kind of how you got the idea to start your own business.
Okay. Yeah. So I have 3 older sisters. I'm the youngest of 4. And my parents are also business owners. They owned not as fun as a store as I do. They have a medical equipment company, but I kind of grew up around the idea of entrepreneur my entire life. So when I was I think they opened their store when I was probably 2 years old. So growing up, we were always with my grandma. My mom was always working. She started the company and then my dad joined in later on. But we were always with my grandma. My mom was working all the time. And when we got to hang out with her, go to the store, we were working. She's like, clean the bottom of those chairs. Here's the vacuum, So my entire life that's all I knew. My parents would come home and that's what they would talk about because they worked together all day and that our life just revolved around the company. So I think that has a lot to do with me wanting to own my own business because I always did want my own business. I never knew what I wanted. I never was I always want a clothing boutique. This is my dream. It wasn't like that. But I did know I wanted to own something of my own and create something. So then I went to Montwood High School and graduated, and then went to UTEP and graduated in accounting. And then when I graduated from there, I worked for my parents for 3 years, and I was their bookkeeper. And at the end of the third year, I think it was what year? We're in 2017. In March, I got my first credit card and it was a $7,000 limit. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have $7,000. What am I going to do with it? Which it's not true, right?
Yeah.
It's not my money. I have to pay it back.
Yeah.
But I was like, what am I going to do with the $7,000? Okay. And I was like, okay, I can start something with this, it's kind of like a loan. Someone's giving you a loan.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm not going to waste it on clothes for me. I don't want to I don't need anything right now. So what am I going to do? So this was at night. I got on my laptop. And honestly, I don't remember how I got to a wholesale clothing, researching how to wholesale clothes. I really don't remember. I guess I just thought about just researching random things. So then I started to research that and found this site that I still use this site almost every day. It's called Fashion Go. This is if you want to open a boutique, you'll need to know that. But they essentially have every single brand that is a wholesale brand. So all the brands I carry in my store have, it's kind of like Etsy.
Okay.
It's hard to explain to people who don't know, but so all these brands will upload all of their products into this site. But to get into this site, you have to have your sales tax license, your business name, your all your business credit card, everything, right? So I was like, okay, this is what I need to do I want to see what is inside this a site.
The store,
Yeah,
because
it's
website.
You can't get in. Yeah. And I'm like, how do I get in? So I went onto Texas Comptroller. I applied for my sales tax ID. And all of this, I kind of know about it because of my background in accounting and helping my parents. So, but honestly, a lot of it was Google too. I was how to get this license or what or YouTube. Like I just found everything on the internet.
Everything is on the internet
Yeah.
nowadays. Like no excuses.
Yeah, I know. Seriously, people ask me all the time, like, how'd you do this? I'm like, honestly, I Googled it. Like no one told me what to do. You know what I mean? Like you forge your own path. The internet is like, it still is like my go-to. I mean, before I like open a book or ask my parents or anything, I'm like, what does Google need to tell me?
So you basically use the internet as kind of your schooling.
How to start.
Yeah,
basically. And I would find boutiques that I loved and small ones, and I'm like so grateful to be like alive in like the podcast age and like in Instagram, everything, you know, because I would find a boutique and then I'd like find out who their founder was, and I would find out if they ever did a podcast on like how they started, or maybe like they have a YouTube channel, or like what does their Instagram look like what does their life look like, you know, because that's like essentially what I was gonna sign up for. So I would do that, and then that just like inspired me so much to like start online. So then like 2 weeks I started to like come up with a name and then come up with a logo, and I did that all on my own because I mean I didn't want to spend any of the $7,000 on like anything other than clothes. So I like taught myself how to do the logo, taught myself how to do the website, and I mean thankful for Shopify because you really don't have to know anything.
They do it all.
Yeah, you just need money. That's it. But yeah, so just did that overnight, and then within the next 2 weeks, like got the clothes in, took photos, and then like launched the site, like my store 2 weeks later.
Within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can get your clothes in like 3 days.
Wow.
You could even overnight ship if you want to. It's just expensive.
Dang.
Yeah. So did that online. Did that for like 3 months, like full force. I still had a job. I was still working for my parents as a bookkeeper. So this is like my side hustle. And then I can be pretty impulsive. So a lot of times when I start something and I don't see it like happen quickly or something like that, I'm like, okay, whatever, on to the next, you know? So I kind of did that. So I think like 3 months later, this is in March, in August, I talked to my parents and I was like, hey, I want to travel the world. Like, will you let me work remotely for a couple of months, and I'll still do your bookkeeping, I'll still do everything, but I'll just do it in a different country. And they were like, well, yeah. So I kind of put, like, the site was still there, but if I got an online order or something, I would call my sister like, hey, will you ship this out for me? Which didn't happen often. I mean, in the beginning, I was maybe getting like 1 order a month or no orders a month. I mean, I would make sales like at pop-ups and I did like 2. So it really wasn't like that kind of like, what's it called when you're not done? It like discouraged me of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, man, this is like, I thought I was going to put it up and people were going to be like, oh my God, I want, you know, clothes. And it's not like that, because there's just so many other, like, I mean, you look at your Instagram and there's literally everyone is a clothing
every other
boutique.
post is like, buy this from here.
Yeah. Or, oh, I just opened a store, you know? I mean, so just putting it up is like not enough. So then I got tired of that, traveled the world for a couple of months. I did like 2 months at the end of 2017. And then while I was abroad at that time, I was in Europe, and there's just so many like vibrancies outside of El Paso, you know, that people in El Paso don't necessarily get to see ever.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, even not even like internationally, but like in the same country, like there's just so many different things that we don't have here.
Yeah.
You know,
even if like, and that applies to like anyone from like just a small town that hasn't really
gotten
anywhere. Outside of the country. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I was just like so inspired by everything outside of El Paso in the country. And I was like, why do like, I love this. I love being out of El Paso, but like, I love El Paso too. I'm like, how do I like merge the two? And I'm like, I want to bring something there that is like fun for everyone, or like something that we don't necessarily have there. And some people don't ever get to experience anything like that, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, like that kind of like brought me back to the store, because I already had the store online, right? I just wasn't doing anything with it. So I started thinking about that, and then I would meet people and they were like, I mean, when you meet, you just like, what do you do? Like, what's your life like back home, you know? And they would find out I had a store and they were like interested in buying from me, or like, give me your website. Like, I want to follow it. I want to like support you because I know you as a person. And I was like, well, this can be a thing. Like, you know, like people do, they want to support like others, and like,
yeah.
I mean, I say this, I'm like, people want to spend money, you know?
They really do.
Which is true. You just
Even
have
if
to
they don't have any.
Yeah. Which is kind of sad, but but I mean, it works. So that was like in November of 2017. So I came back home for the holidays, and I remember telling my parents, I was like, I want to open a store. Like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to like look at this spot, and it's a spot. Like, it's the only spot I looked at is the spot I'm in on the far east side. So I really wanted a store on the far east side. I was like, there's nothing over here. Like, this is how I'm going to market. This is how, I'm like, no one's doing it here. Like, I don't know why. But I'm going to be the first one to do it. And they're like, Erika, like, you're impulsive. Like, you need to wait. I even called the landlord. I mean, I was freaking out. I was like, they're not going to lend me. I don't have anything. I don't have money. I don't have credit. I don't have anything to show for. Like, who's going to lend me a 5-year lease on a 25, like, whatever my rent is for 5 years to a 26-year-old who, like, has never had a real job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, whatever, I'm just going to call them. If they say no, like, they say no. So I called them. I was like, can I see this space? And they met me out there. And while they were showing me the space, I was like, what do you require? Like, if I wanted to sign, like, what do I need to give you? Or, like, what are you going to ask of me? He's like, oh, nothing. You just need to sign, like, this paper. And you need, like, your down payment. And I was like, what? In my head, I mean, I, like, played it cool. I was like, okay. But I was like, what the heck? Like, this is possible. Like, I could do this, So then I told my parents, like, I want to do it. This is in December, like, right before Christmas. And they're like, just wait. Like, it's like a business is like a baby, Like, you're super, like, everywhere right now. You're going to have to give up, like, everything. And I was like, okay. Like, I was like, I'll wait. They're like, go out of town again. And, like, if you can't stop thinking about it, then come back and do it. So I was like, okay. So I left to South America.
Amazing.
I know. I was really lucky to be able to do that. And so I went to January and February. I was in South America, and that's all I could think about was, like, coming back and opening this store. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go for it. So I cut my trip early. I made, like, my appointment to sign my lease with the landlord, and found out, like, how much money I needed. I ended up getting a loan for the down payment, which also the internet. They're like, okay, they told me the day before, like, how much money I needed to give them, and it was like $7,000 or something. And I was like, okay, where do I find $7,000? Like, in 24 hours? Like, where do I get this? Because I was like, this has to happen. If I don't, like, I can't wait and save for 3 months. It's gonna drive me crazy,
Yeah.
So I, like, went on the internet, and like, there's so many people who will lend you money with, like, high interest rates, but whatever. But I got money overnight.
But you made it happen.
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's actually crazy. But that's so
crazy.
cool. Like, it's just like, it's kind of like that. Like, if you really want something, you're gonna do whatever it takes to get it.
I mean, we live in, like, a time where, like, everything is available to us.
Yeah.
Especially, like, in the U.S., like, everything is at our fingertips. So, like, if you want to do something, you can't.
Just do it.
Yeah. I mean, there's gonna be struggles, but nothing good in life comes without them. So
That's so true.
yeah. So okay, so that's February. Got the loan, signed my lease. The rest I did use credit cards. So, like, I applied for credit cards, and that's how, like, I financed my business. That's how I started up, because I didn't really have much capital in the beginning. So, like, from that to 4 months later is when I opened. And, like, during that time, I was still working for my parents, still had, I mean, I worked for them. I recently just quit, like, 2 months ago. But, so it was just preparing everything, like, starting the marketing, like, just strategizing everything, how I was going to do it, like, started the bookkeeping, started tagging the clothes, like, in that 4 months, so that when my grand opening day came, or when I got the keys, I could just move in. And, like, I got the keys, and then 2 weeks later I opened, because I was, like, just prepping for 4 months for it, and the longest 4 months of my life. I cannot tell you, like, because you're excited, and you
just want it to happen. Yeah.
And you're like, I'm so excited for this, and someone's gonna open a store before I do, like, so then opened, and that was about this last Saturday was a year ago that I opened that store. I say I don't know why.
But it feels so much longer.
To me, it feels like a night. Oh, like one day.
Really?
Yeah.
It feels like I feel like you've been open for way longer. But
oh, cool.
So when I went to the year thing, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Only? Like,
yeah, only a year. Yeah, it's been a year. Crazy. Yeah, so that then in the last year of being open, I mean, I ran it by myself for about 9 months. I was just there every day. And now, I mean, you saw me. You'd come shopping, and I was always there. Mm-hmm. I was open 6 days a week for the beginning. No. Yeah, I was open Tuesday through Sunday for, like, 7 months. Mondays I would work at my parents' business on bookkeeping until I got the opportunity to open a second store. That literally just fell in my lap. Like, no joke. It was crazy. I never wanted a second location. I wanted to expand online.
Which, yeah, I think you had mentioned that at some point of like, oh, I just keep to this store and keep it cool. And then like a few weeks later, you announce like, we're opening a new location.
Yeah, it was literally like 1 month. It was insane, like just how it happened. So yeah, I didn't want another store. I mean, there's so much opportunity online. Yeah. I was like, I don't need another location. You know what I mean? Like, I can sell to anyone in the world with an online store. Why would I open
without
a second
having
location
to pay like
here?
rent?
Right.
Yeah.
Rent, bills, water. Oh my gosh, everything. You know. So how did that happen? So like it was June, July, August, September, October, November, January, February, 8 months of like having the first store. At the end of February, I was just like playing with the idea. I just called the Fountains to see. I was just interested. I'm like, maybe in like a couple of years, or like, would they let me have a pop-up? I thought that I think pop-ups are like fascinating. So I was like, maybe I could do a pop-up there for a couple of months. Like, I'm just going to see if that's like a thing, if they would let me, you know? So I called the Fountains and, they were like, original spot I was asking about, they're like, oh, that just rented. Like, what are you looking to open? And I was like, oh, well, I have a retail store on the east side. And they're like, okay, well, send me your website and like everything. We need to send it to our landlord to see if it's even something he would like allow. Cause I mean, they're pretty like careful of, like you can't open, I don't know, something
The Fountains, for those of you who don't know what it is just like a shopping center here in El Paso with restaurants and like Barnes and Noble and things like that. So yeah,
it's like El Paso's fairly small, I guess. It's like one of the bigger shopping centers.
Not the center of the city, but it's like a main shopping center.
Yeah. So yeah, they asked me like what I was gonna do with my website and stuff, and then the next day I think called me back and they're like, well, we have a couple, like he said, it's fine. We have a couple spots that we'd like to show you. So I was like, oh, okay. I mean, at this point I still wasn't like, I wasn't gonna do it. You know, I was just kind of going with the flow, like, all right, let's see what they show me. I just wanted to see this.
Just for fun.
Yeah, like I was like, okay, I have some time, why not? So I went and they showed me like a couple different spots, and then they're like, there's this one that we really want to show you that we think you would love. And I was like, okay. So they took me it was an old bridal boutique, and it's been empty for about 2 years. This boutique like moved to a bigger space. So it's like all set up for retail, like everything is done. There's even racks on the walls. There's like fitting room spaces. Essentially, like I could move in the next day if I wanted to keep it like the same colors. And they were like, this spot, like you can like move in without essentially like paying anything. Like you can open up for free, which no one does that.
Yeah, you know? That's crazy.
Yeah, and they're like, my lease is only a year there, so they're like, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, and if it does, you extend your lease. But like we'd like love to give you this opportunity. Like we've checked out like your sites, and we love that you do events and like all this stuff. And I was like, what the heck? Like, you know, I was like, whoa, this is like crazy. So I thought about it for a while, and I was like, you know, like sometimes doors open for you, and if you don't walk through them, they won't happen again.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, okay, I'm going to figure it out. Like, let's do it. I'm like, I'm the only employee. And it's like freaking hard with one store, but okay, I'm like, okay, now what am I going to do? Like, I'm going to have to hire people. How do I hire? What software do I need to schedule? I've never worked in retail. This is my first retail job. Like,
yeah,
you know,
which is crazy because I feel like a lot of people go from working for someone to themselves, but you're just like,
yeah. And it's just been crazy. So just like learning all of that. And that's like where I'm at now. Just every day, like figuring out something. I mean, I've never had to manage people, and I went from like managing myself to like 4 girls in a month. So, I mean, that having to pay them, figuring out like taxes, like I mean, you need so many things like in this, like
all the details of owning a business.
Yeah. Just
like,
everything.
There's so many details. I want to backtrack just a little bit into like your first store, because you immediately started having a bunch of events and teaming up with other local businesses, such as like coffee or facial businesses, or having workouts, hosting classes, all of those things. So what was your strategy of like getting known here in the city? Like, what was it just like, I'm just going to have enough, like, so many events that eventually people will come and check it out? Or?
Yeah. So I initially, like, my strategy was I'm going to create like a cute Instagrammable space. That's what like my like initial idea was, like, okay, I'm going to make it pretty in here where people are going to want to take pictures. And when they take a picture, they're going to share it to their Instagram. Then all of their friends and family followers are going to be like, oh, what's that? That's cute. And then hence like that'll create like a ripple effect. Right. So that was like the first thing. So, I mean, there's like that like cool shape in the back of the store. I mean, you've seen it. And just like cute, like quotes on the mirrors and,
your store is super,
different things.
I mean, both of them are super Instagrammable, or just like taking a snap, even trying on clothes at both locations. You feel like, I want to take a picture because I feel cute and the lighting is amazing. Yeah. So that's so smart. Okay. So.
So that's like the initial. And then from there, I mean, the events kind of just came. I love like planning parties. Like I love like setting up things and like making it look beautiful. And like, because it makes someone feel special, you know?
It does.
So that's like where that came from. And then I don't remember my first event. I mean, events just get people out and people want to do things. And some people don't have anyone to do them with, or, you know what I mean? So I kind of just started one, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Like people are interested. And then met Lily. I do the facial class. And then just people would ask after that, like, hey, let's collab. And I don't say yes to all of them. If it works out, like, I mean, it has to be like on brand and like.
It has to like make sense for you as well.
Like I'm not going to have like an elote stand in there. You know what I mean? Like a corn, I don't know, but
yeah. Elotes, a taco, man.
Yeah, like I don't know if I would do that, but
yeah.
It just has to like follow like on brand and like kind of like, I mean, I wanted to like attract a certain person too. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
I love that. Okay. And then from opening your first store to the second one, like what changes did you make? Because this time you weren't like such a newbie to it. Like you had been working at the first location. Like into the second one, what had you learned from opening the first one and like failures or struggles that you had that into the second one you were like, all right, we're not going to do this. We're going to do this instead.
Okay. That's a good question. Gosh. It honestly was just so fast. I mean, from like signing that lease on the second location to open was like a month. So I don't really remember much of that month, to be honest. And I didn't really have a strategy. Like I was like, this is so fast. I don't have time to plan anything. I don't have time to like, so I probably made the same mistakes again. Honestly, Yeah. I mean, there's one thing. There's like I didn't put like a hole in my countertop for the cords, which I should have. That's like the only thing I can think of.
I love that. That's so specific. Okay, so then overall, like what have been your like top struggles and things that you've learned of running a business, like on your own as a 20-something, like not having any previous experience as a business owner?
Yeah. Struggles. I mean, definitely, we were talking about this earlier, but like balancing, honestly, like staying sane. Like just balancing like your life. I mean, because there really isn't much of a balance, I guess. I don't know if that's like real in my life, I guess, because I don't have kids. I don't have like a husband that I have to separate things from. Yeah. So like my entire life is my store. Like that's I mean, I'm always there. And if I'm not there, I'm like always on my phone or like whatever, you know?
You're taking care of business in a different way.
Yeah. So I think it's like the challenge has been, I still do need to separate that like in my mind. And like that, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Like have you started to kind of be like, all right, I need to take a step back today and like.
Oh, that reminds me, letting go of things, like letting other people do things has been hard.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a control freak. Like I want to do everything and I want it now. Right. Type of thing. So.
Yeah. And what does this say? Like if you want something done right, do it yourself. And I mean, I'll get frustrated if someone's not doing something the way I would, but so I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do it. But I mean, I can't do that because I'm driving myself crazy, you know?
Yeah. You have to like delegate things.
So that's been hard. People. It's hard to let go of things because it's like your kid. It's my kid.
Yeah. That's your baby.
Yeah. And if at the end of the day, like I lose out, not anyone else, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
exactly. And then like so walk me through a day in your life of like from the
my
moment you wake up
They're always different.
to
Okay.
but
Yeah.
a typical
Like, what do I keep every day that I have to do?
what do you keep every day? But like, let's say you have an event as well. Like, I know you have an event tonight.
Okay, I'll give like a day like today or Wednesday. So I usually wake up. I don't have an alarm clock. I usually wake up like this first store opens about 10:30, so that's like really if I need to be there. So I'll wake up like at 7:38 usually. If I'm up late, like 9, or 8:30. So I do that. I really do not like to have an alarm clock because it's just like will ruin my day. So I'll wake up. I try not to be on my phone first thing in the morning because I'm on it almost
the rest of the day,
24 hours a day. Yeah. So I mean, sometimes I will just wake up and grab it and scroll a little bit, but I realize when I do that, my mind is just, it's bad.
Yeah.
So I'll wake up, do that, shower, drink a glass of water, and then I'll get ready. I will go to a coffee shop, which you probably see on Instagram. So there's like 3 in my rotation. So I'll do that, grab a cup of coffee, and then head to whichever store I need to be at that day, or say I need to take clothes back and forth. I'll do that, or I have a meeting set up. Like today, I went to open one store, and then I came here to do this podcast, and then go back, check in. I'll usually go back to like both stores, check in with like the girls. And throughout the day, I mean, I have like all my emails on my phone. I have everything on my phone. So, and my online store. So like if there's an online order, I'll go to a store, pick up the clothes, go to the post office, ship it out, whatever I need to do. You know what I mean? So it really is always different. Like if there's an online order in the middle of my day, I need to stop my day and go ship that out. So, I mean, thankful for my phone because and then I'll like post a picture and go, I don't know, whatever, go visit Courtney at like Eastside or come back over here. Usually forget to eat.
Same.
Yeah.
It's an issue. Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad.
So do you use any like, how do you manage your time? Because you're running 2 stores and then also like, like just all over the place.
I'm really bad at managing my time, honestly. I don't manage it. And I need to. Do you have any recommendations? I can be so much more efficient if I did, but I don't.
I'm such a list maker. I make like lists I'll make a list the night before
of what you need to do
of what I need to do. And I'll make it like, I'll write it out actually. Like I need to write things out. I'll write on my calendar, a notepad, on my phone, and on a sticky note. Like that's how bad I am because I'll forget things that I have to do, even though it's been like, in the calendar. So I constantly have to remind myself of like, what am I doing today? And I've started like putting everything on my calendar from like getting a coffee to
that's smart.
Writing for 5 minutes in the morning.
Like everything.
Like everything, especially because I always like, like the time that I'm going to go to the gym and then spend time to go home. And then I put time of like, I'm trying to like slowly just put everything in my phone.
Yeah.
And time it and give myself a little bit of buffer because I'm always late and I'm like trying to work on it.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to, I'm terrible at time managing my stuff. Yeah. I'm never late though. I try to be on time too. If it's work. If it's friends, I'm like, you can wait 10 minutes. I have to do this, ship out this order.
I know, right?
Take care of this return or whatever.
Yeah. I've been trying to get better at like just leaving or making it like 10 minutes, 15 minutes before I'm supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Like
just
putting my calendar
you'll be
so that I'm like
on time.
Yeah. I'm the worst, but I'm trying to get better at it. Okay. So you talk about balance and everything. So like what keeps you sane? Like what are the few things, like little things in your life right now that like actually keep you mentally balanced or like keeping like the day going without freaking out? Because it's a lot to juggle, like a whole business and managing people and yourself and all of those things.
I for sure need to have, my mornings need to be the same. Like I need to wake up, I need to have my glass of water, and I need to like, I get ready in the same restroom. Obviously, I don't know why you would switch around, but like the morning does need to be the same. If I wake up late and I'm like, I need to be somewhere in 30 minutes, that will ruin like my entire week, you know, just cause that's like some time like to myself to like unwind before everything just like hits, like all your questions come in and like you open your Instagram DMs or your emails, you know what I mean? So the mornings are like, definitely I need that. And then I go to church every Sunday. That does help too. that just kind of like is like time. I don't know, just like you don't think about anything else. And that's just like my entire life. That's been what we've done. So I think that like just brings me back to like grounds me almost. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you're not that cool. Like, you know, like you're the same you're the same person. Like, I don't know. That church, I'll like go for walks. That helps too. Just kind of get your mind off things. And that's pretty much it. And driving in my car, like if it's quiet, like I don't listen to music. Yeah, it just has to be quiet whenever I'm like by myself.
So alone time is like big for you. Like even if it's not a lot of alone time.
Right, just in my car.
Because we were talking before we started recording, and you're saying how you're like, I think I'm an introvert.
Yeah, I never realized I was until I opened a store.
Yeah, because like when you own a business, you have to talk to everyone,
right,
and be their best friend, and you host so many events. So like, I would never think that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I do enjoy being around people, but I definitely like recharge on my own.
I always think that I'm like, I used to be like a full extreme extrovert, and now as I've gotten older, I'm like, I think I'm like an extroverted introvert.
Yeah.
Or like, I don't know which one is like how to.
Which one's in front?
Which one would go first? I definitely like talking to people.
I think extrovert and introvert, yeah.
But I love being alone.
Right.
Like
nice.
I'm like, I'm totally great being alone.
Right.
And
well, I think it's like if you recharge, if you need to recharge and you like want to be around people to like recharge, that's extrovert. But like if you recharge on your own, it's not necessarily like, oh, I can talk to people well. Yeah. I'm an extrovert. Like I'm social. Yeah. You know what I mean? Which I always thought was that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm an extrovert. Like, but no, oh my gosh, no, I need some time with myself. Like yesterday, I was like, I cannot see one person today. Like I was like, guys, I'm not coming to work. And I never do that. Like, I literally have never done that in the last year. Like, I mean, I wasn't able to. Thankfully now I am, but I have an awesome team. Yeah. So, but yeah, I was like, I can't talk to one person. Like, stop FaceTiming me, Dad.
I know. Like, I'll literally take walks in like TJ Maxx to not buy anything. I probably will, but like just to like, I don't know, for fun. It like for me, it like is just like a nice like look at that. Look at that candle. Like I don't know why.
No, I think or
like sense. Target and just being like, this is so fun, and I don't even have to buy anything.
Right. You just go
alone time. So, what are your goals like for the next, either 6 months to a year for your stores and for yourself?
Okay. Stores. Gosh, that's honestly, I have no clue with the stores. I always say like, I mean, it changes every day. Some days I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to sell. Like, who wants to buy my business today? I'm done. Like this week was one of those weeks. I was just so over it. Like, it's exhausting. You have to sacrifice so many things, and people just like think it's so fun and amazing from the outside, and which it is most of the time, but a lot of the times it's not also. Mm-hmm. And then you like, I don't know, but so sometimes I do want to sell it. And I mean, who knows, in 3 years I could sell it and
start something else, do a different thing.
Yeah. And honestly, that's like what I would like to do. Like, I'd like to open things in El Paso and, eventually sell them, but open something that like no one else is opening here.
It's different. Yeah.
So that's what I want to do. But I mean, honestly, who knows? I didn't want to have another store last year, and like, here we are.
A few months later.
Yeah. So I don't know what.
You're kind of just going with the flow.
I am. I'm seeing, I mean, I'm 26. I'm so young,
Yeah. I love that. I love every time I think like we were doing like a workout class at your apartment a couple weeks ago.
I'm so random.
I know. And I love it because like those are the types of things that like people in El Paso are not used to. I lived in New York for 6 years. So
it's like normal.
So it was like, oh, like come to this like rooftop and like meditate for an hour and like with random strangers and then talk. And that's like so normal over there. Like strange things like that. Not that it was strange, but like it was so fun. Yeah. And you were like, you said something that really like stuck with me, and it was just like, I'm only 26 once. Yeah. And I love that. Like, because you're really, I mean, at any age, like, you're only young once. Right. Might as well try it all. And, like,
I think it's like, I'm only young once. I'm only single once. I'm only not a mom once. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, who knows if I will. whatever happens. But yeah, like this is the only time I can do whatever I want. And
I love that mentality though, because I think like a lot of us, as we get older, like into like closer to 30, or I don't know, wherever, you are in your life, like we think like we have to have certain things and like, well, I can't do that anymore. I'm like 26 now. And it's like, it doesn't even matter. Like you can do anything. So I love that.
Yeah.
And do you have any like personal goals for yourself?
No.
I love it.
I don't have time to think about personal goals, honestly. I mean, my life is my business, so I guess anything that goes along with my business is like a personal goal of mine. But maybe be better at time managing.
That's the same, girl.
Be a better manager. That's a good one.
Well, you just started being a manager, right?
And I suck. But it's okay. You learn.
You do learn.
Yeah.
You do. Okay. One of my last questions is, what advice do you have for someone who wants to start? Like, let's say maybe they have an online boutique or want to start selling women's fashion or anything in that realm. Like, what advice would you have for them?
I would say just go for it. I mean, I think people just always are like, it's so saturated. It's like, and it is. There's so many clothing stores, like Target. I compete against Target. Like, I'm down the street from Target at my store,
But your stuff is so much cuter.
Yeah, but I mean, I was telling this to someone the other day, like H&M sells a white t-shirt and I sell a white t-shirt. Like, how do I get them to come to me rather than H&M? You know what I mean? And that's really like the struggle, because there's so many options, and it can be intimidating and scary, but I mean, there's room for everyone, honestly. Like there's so many restaurants and they all eat. Or like, I always think like of the birds. I'm like, the birds, like there's so many birds and they all eat. Like there's food for everyone. You know what I mean? So there's business for everyone. I think like, don't be intimidated and just go for it. Because and work hard. That's definitely, if you're not, I mean, I don't cuss, but I work my ass off. And like, that's honestly like the only thing that's going to get you somewhere is like hard work. And yeah, just go for it. That would be mine.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I also just want to say, like, just for anyone who's interested in checking out your store, is that like the quality of clothes and like items that you sell at your store are, I think, beyond like H&M and Target and
I think so
Forever
too.
21. And I think like it's okay to have a balance of both. Like it's okay to invest in pieces. So I think that's like a huge thing or from what I've seen of like girls going to your store, because you carry things that are quality.
Yeah.
And that aren't super available everywhere, but like, you have the basics and then you still have, different things. So
thank you.
I mean, that's why I love your store.
Yeah, thanks. I hope it's I like to make an experience too.
Yeah, it definitely is. Every time I go in, I feel like I'm hanging out like in a cool girls club or something.
Cool. Cool girl. Yeah, I hope to like, a goal is like to make that the online, so everyone who doesn't live in El Paso can get the same feel.
Yeah, like all this stuff is available online and you can order it and
you'll get a little note from me.
Be part of the Onyx Sunday Club.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me.
This is so fun, like hearing your story, and like it's just so true, because everyone thinks like on Instagram, like we're all living our best lives, but in reality, like we're all working our asses off.
Yeah, and you're trying to live your best life.
And trying to live the best life.
But I mean, life is tough.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Really quick, I want to do a quick rapid fire question.
Okay. Oh my gosh. I'm nervous. I've always heard these, but
it's kind of like, would you rather this or that? So would you rather travel the world or have 10 businesses?
Dang. 10 businesses.
Would you? I love it. Sundress or sunglasses?
Sundress.
A good pair of shoes or a great hat?
Shoes.
Brunch or dinner?
Dinner.
Wine or pizza?
Both. That's like right up my alley.
I know.
I love wine and pizza. After a long day, I treat myself to that.
It's the best.
Every day. Usually every day.
I love it. Okay, so now tell us where we can find you.
Yeah, so at Onyx Sunday Instagram, onyxsunday.com, website, Onyx Sunday on Facebook, and then personal, Erika Lee with 3 E's, ErikaLee. I show a lot of like behind the scenes on there. But yeah, just Onyx Sunday everywhere.
Yes, so go follow her on Instagram. She sells the best clothes. Check out her boutique. Order all your stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
Like, this is such a great conversation, and I hope that our listeners gain some knowledge of what it's really like to be a business owner.
I hope so too.
Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you like what you heard, please subscribe and rate us. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram @RestlessPodcast. Until the next episode, stay motivated, stay hungry, and stay restless.